Ever wander into the Crimson Isles and think, oh, she's cute? Did you stumble into this mean-looking cube and get an accidental tentacle play? Do you want revenge on the mobs that ganged on you and mocked your new behavior? Well, this is the guide for you. Hello everybody and welcome back to my second video. In this video, we will be guiding you on how to efficiently defeat Kuudra so that you can get fast runs and make your burst great again. This video will cover all the stats and gears recommended from armors to tools and weapons. The video will also cover all the phases starting with phase 1 and 2 of Kuudra. The first two phases focus on where to start for crates, how to grab them, and where to place them. Next is phase 3 of Kuudra, which is about building the Ballista and surviving. This guide will also cover the DPS role of phase 4, along with the stunner's role, such as how to insta-stun and animation skip. Lastly, this guide will cover the final phase of Kuudra. There will be timestamps in the description below the video so you can easily find what particular section you wish to learn. Without further ado, let's get into the guide. To start off with getting ready for Kuudra, we need to set up our gear and stats. For tier 1 to tier 4 Kuudra, simplicity is best. We want the most mana and magic damage we can get. I recommend using powers like Bizarre, Sighted Power, and for tier 1 and 2 Kuudra, put tunings into intelligence. For tier 3 and 4, we want to also have 100 attack speed for stun phase, so if you hold your bow and equip your pet and don't have 100 attack speed, I recommend using tuning to get your attack speed to 100. For crates, I recommend 2 Force Magma Lord for lava immunity and Mithril Coat to reduce tent damage to 40%. The crate set isn't important, especially in tier 1 and 2 as crates are very fast, but in tier 3 and 4 it may matter since you may fail to grab your pre. For build phase, I recommend Wither Goggles and 3/4 Storm, or you can go Aurora if you have it. I put Storm since you'll likely already have one for dungeons. Any of the recommended pets work well. Blaze and Phoenix are if you want to focus more on surviving than clearing. And for equips, I recommend these 4. I strongly recommend Implosion Belt and Gauntlet of Contagion as they significantly help clear mobs during build. For tier 3 and 4 stun phase, you can just get a clean terror or slap spiked on it for attack speed, as the only stat that matters is attack speed for stun phase. I recommend using Hound or Griffin as they both give base attack speed, and you can slap a plushie on it for an additional 35%. If you want to use a short bow, ideally Term, but for tier 3 and 4, as long as you have 16 Toxic Arrow Poison and Duplex, it's not a big concern. For the stunner, in order to insta-stun, you will want a pickaxe in order to pick Obelisk, and I recommend a conduit since it's the fastest method to stun, but you can use an Ether Warp on the AOTV or simply AOTV over 2. The important part to fast stuns is using Pick Obelisk. For tier 5, the setup changes based on your magical power. This slide shows the breakdown on how to set up your term, power, tunings, enrichments, equips, and gems based on your magical power. Down below I sum up the goal of these stats. You want as close to 100 crit chance as possible without wasting overflow crit chance, since generally it's better to allocate those stats to strength and crit damage. Once again, it's important to have 100 attack speed during stun. Don't believe me? Test for yourself what 98 attack speed versus 100 attack speed looks like. Finally, I list some important attributes that significantly improve your damage. For tier 5 crates, there's not a whole lot of difference compared to the previous tiers. You can optimize for speed and use Spirit or Phoenix to save yourself one time, like when you get tent slammed placing a crate. The equips aren't important either, but I recommend these especially if you're newer and need the clear ability in build. Last Breath is so in phase 2, whoever isn't grabbing a crate can go Last Breath Kuudra. The ability will last long enough so when you enter final phase, Kuudra will be missing 50% of its defense. Very important for increasing your damage. For build, you can either use Aurora for the most magic damage, or Hollow to get stacks to Hollow on buff for final phase. Hollow buff is very nice for final phase, and its last ability, Ichor Pool, applies an 8 block radius buff of 20% multiplicative damage and plus 40 ferocity to everyone. Hyperion is good for clearing and also applying a shield. I recommend using some mod GUI with a shield cooldown so you can keep a constant shield up during build. Fire Veil is good since you can activate and then hold hype to buff the Fire Veil damage. Fire Veil also helps with getting hollow stacks. You can clear mobs with just Fire Veil if you want to focus on hollow stacks. I recommend Bouquet of Lies to drain your health during build so you can get Lifeline buff for final phase. Bouquet is better than Wand of Strength because it also contributes to hollow stacks by hitting numerous mobs during build. To keep your health low for Lifeline buff, you want to equip the Lava Shell necklace. That will set all health regen and healing to 0 so you can't gain health. For pets, generally use G-Drag for the most damage, but if you're poor or struggling, use Blaze. If you're a weirdo like me, you can use Phoenix to proc more Fire Veil on mobs and get more hollow stacks. For stun phase, DPS should TP over to Slash Pre-Spot and Wardrobe to their 3-Force Terror and Warden set. DPS should use 32 Toxic Arrow Poison and pre-fire generally 3 to 4 seconds before stun happens for the fastest stun time. Once Kuudra hits 25% or 25k HP, activate Rag and swap out everything in preparation for final phase. I also included some buffs that you can use instantly once you teleport down for final phase. Lastly, I'll mention a couple of useful mods that can heavily improve your Kuudra gameplay. Sky Tilts is great for chat hotkeys so you can easily open your equip menu or wardrobe. Sky Tilts also lets you set waypoints in Kuudra so you can add safe spot locations or where to stun. Odin has crate priorities to inform you which crates to grab, along with announcing what crate didn't spawn. Odin also has Sky Pearl waypoints so you can accurately throw pearls to your designated pile. Odin also has Build Helper to highlight unfinished builds so you don't leave early and forget to finish the build. Kick, aka Kuudra's Cool, has a very nice highlight for crates that gives you a visual of the crate the second it spawns, like before it even surfaces. Kick also outlines the crate's hitbox, making grabbing the crate easier than ever. Kick also has a progress bar to visually show you how close the build is to being complete. Kick even gives Kuudra an outline to make Kuudra easier to spot in final phase. Now let's get into explaining Kuudra and its phases. For phase 1 of Kuudra, there are 4 pre's. Your party will each take a pre to start at and grab its respective crate. When you have successfully obtained that crate, each pre will take their crate to the build piles illustrated here. For phase 2, each member will go to their designated second crate, which is determined by the pre they started at and by which the 7 possible crates didn't spawn. Players that aren't grabbing a second crate should last breath Kuudra and clear mobs to get tokens. The image above illustrates where to place shop in X-Cannon. One unique rule to mention is that Square doesn't have a designated placement. Square's placement is determined by which crate didn't spawn in that run. So, if Equals crate didn't spawn, Square will place their crate on Equals build. Here's another example to help demonstrate this rule. Let's say X-Cannon didn't spawn. Square will take their crate and place it on X-Cannon build. This is where mods like Odin or Kick is useful for their no pre-callouts. That way you know which crate didn't spawn. This chart here illustrates crate priority for each pre, depending on what crate didn't spawn. Phew, that was a lot of talking. Now we've covered all of the gear and stats and general information on phase 1 and 2 of Kuudra. I want to go over all of the various rules and conditionals for gathering supplies. A rule for supplies worth mentioning is what to do if your pre doesn't spawn. If your pre doesn't spawn, you want to pull Square and X-Cannon crate close to the safe spots and grab shop. This is intended to make those crates faster for the other players during P2, and also to have you prioritize shop, which is often the slowest crate. Here's an example. The next vid is an example of doing a pre without the Kuudra talisman. I added it for those who can't obtain or afford the Kuudra Heart. This example works for all 4 pre's, and Sky Pearls are thrown at 29% for tier 4 and 5 Kuudra. Now that we've covered the unique rules, we can get into the bulk of how to do crates. These videos will demonstrate startup, start spot, and potential safe spots if you fail. Pearl times in these clips are based on having the tier 3 Kuudra talisman and only work for tier 4 and 5 Kuudra. Before we get into build, I wanted to quickly show where each pre you start on is supposed to start build from. So for example, Try would start at the build close to the shop, and then move up to the middle build on that side. If your side of build is done, kill any mobs attacking your side of the build, then go help the other side build. This next clip is for Tier 1 and Tier 2 Kuudra and demonstrates how to quickly fuel the Ballista. Useful notes are that fuels spawn in the same 7 location as supplies, and for Tier 1 Kuudra, you want to shoot the Ballista instantly. For Tier 2, you want to lower Kuudra to around 60% by shooting orbs into Kuudra, then using the Ballista. Finally, the next couple of clips will show DPS and stun rolls for Phase 4, along with Phase 5. And that's all. Thanks for watching my video and hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe as it motivates me to make more videos like this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and feel free to recommend ideas for my next guide. Bye! You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.